Hello and welcome. I am Michelle Fishering, regenerative entrepreneur and founder and CEO of Maven Impact Consulting. I am so excited that you're here. And as per usual, I am not coming to you live because my rural internet is a little too finicky for that. So I am doing this as pre-recorded, but I really appreciate your engagement and I am so grateful that you're here and watching this. So please do leave me a comment below or shoot me a DM if you have any questions or any comments or if anything in this resonated for you. I would love to hear from you and I will definitely engage back even though we're not live. All right, so let's dive into today's video. Sorry about the background noise. I've had some work going on at my house for a while, so that is hopefully going to end soon. Anyway, okay, so what we're talking about today are the 3 mistakes that you want to avoid, mistakes or pitfalls that you want to avoid when you're on your journey to building a better business. So there are definitely some other things that come up for people, but I picked 3 of the big ones that sort of seem to be the ones that more people deal with. Pretty much everybody deals with this at some point or another. A lot of them are similar for a lot of change. So let's get started and dive into that. So the first mistake that happens is striving for perfection. So as with anything worth doing in your life or in your business, it's a journey. This kind of change is a journey. It's not about the destination. You're not going to eventually, like one day, get to a point where you no longer have to work on this or you no longer have to make effort to make change. There will always, this is not a point that you're going to arrive at. Striving to become a better business and increasing your impact and building value for your stakeholders. This is a journey that you're always going to be on. And it is definitely, you have a little bit of that inertia at the beginning. You build up momentum over time and eventually things become easier and it becomes more ingrained and more natural in making decisions from this perspective of, am I creating value and what is my impact, and the awareness and the consciousness that evolves as you follow along this path. It makes it much easier. But don't ever think that you're going to be perfect with this, because you won't. No one is. So we're all human, and you're only going to do, you do what you can, and that is everything. So, okay, that's the first mistake. The second mistake to avoid is following trends. So this can be really difficult in the age of social media, especially now as social and environmental issues are sort of at the forefront of a lot of social media trends. And they kind of, in those waves, they kind of come up as bigger issues. And then it's just like a firestorm. And for 4 days, that's all you hear about is one particular issue. And then everybody moves on to the next particular issue. And then, which is, you can imagine, is the reason why this is a mistake. So when you're just following the trends and you're posting, you're posting on social media about this and about that and about the next thing and about the next thing, that's when we start looking at, it feels to your audience a lot like greenwashing or impact washing, where you're talking about something, but you're not doing it. And there's only, as with anything else, you can't do everything well. So let's pick a few of the things that are really powerful for you or your business. And those are the places where you put your energy. And it's not to say that you can't create value and you can't create impact and you can't, let's say, donate money to a cause. If there were to be a big environmental disaster next week, hope not. But maybe you donate money to buy meals for some families who are impacted, right? That's beautiful. Absolutely. Like, take action, and not to like call that a trend, but absolutely like take action on that. But when you're constantly hopping from one thing to the next, where you're really vocal about, let's say, like racial justice for 2 months, and then you move on to the next cause, like ocean plastic, and then you move on to the next cause, and then you're not only risking alienating your audience, and coming across as somebody who's impact washing and saying they're doing things but not actually doing them, but you also totally dilute your own resources for your team. This is one of the reasons why, if you're just looking at doing, like, let's say all you're going to do is charitable donation, that's like, if charitable donations are your way of giving back. In the nonprofit community, it's actually better to give more money to fewer organizations than to give lots of little amounts to lots of organizations. And that can sometimes feel a little harder for us as individuals, because it feels really good to like give to all the causes we're really passionate about, right? And if you care deeply about things, then you care about a lot of causes. But the problem is that when you just give lots of little amounts, number one, those organizations can't start relying on that amount, right? Because it's not consistent. And another element of that is that it's very, might feel good for you, but it's not what they need. And you also look at things like just the overhead and administrative costs that it takes to process, let's say, $100 donation. So if you get all of these individual like $100 donations, not to say that they're not appreciated, but there's overhead required to process that. It's the same overhead if you give $1,000 donation. It's the same overhead if you give $10,000 donation. So if you give one $10,000 donation, it's a lot less diluted than if you give $100 donation. So if all you can give is if $100 is what you can give, great, give that whole $100 to one organization, versus giving $5 to all of these different organizations. So that was a little bit of a tangent, but that was that plays into the idea around why following trends is just a bad idea. It just dilutes your message. It takes away from the power of following the things that you are called to. So do the work to uncover what those causes, what those specific things are, and whether those are external causes, like charities or things that you want to contribute to, or volunteer opportunities outside your organization, or if they're things inside your organization. So if you're pursuing, I'm going to be really careful with how I say this, because I want to be very clear about what I'm saying. So diversity, equity, and inclusion, like, this is an important movement in the workplace, right? But if you treat it as a trend and you do it just to tick a box and to say like, oh, did that thing that I was supposed to do, you're not doing it right. If you're going to implement those policies in your company, do it with your whole heart. Go all in. Make sure that it is woven into your culture and that it's implemented at every level of your culture. Don't just do it and say, oh, did that next thing. What's the next thing that I'm supposed to do according to like what other people are telling me? Okay. That's what I'm talking about when I say following trends. So it can be in your organization, how you operate your organization. It can also be like the things that you do outside of your organization, in your community, and other causes. Trends, just stay away from them. Do the things that are powerful for you. And if you do decide to take action on something, do it all the way. Okay. Let's go on to the third mistake to avoid. Okay, this one is the last mistake I want to talk about, is not starting now. Sorry, my dog wants to go outside and is like grumbling at me. So not starting now. So I know it can feel a little bit overwhelming, but I cannot tell you how many people I talk to who do the like one day I'm gonna do that, or yeah, next year I'll put that on my strategic objectives for next year, or I'll think about my give back plan at the end of the year on Giving Tuesday, for Giving Tuesday. There's this sense of like a lack of urgency, like, oh, it can happen out there in the future sometime. Well, that is, as with any journey, the sooner you start, the sooner you can have an impact and you can start creating results. So in this case, the sooner you start, the sooner you can create positive outcomes for the people and the planet, the people you care about, the people who are involved in your business, the people who are affected by your business, the people in your community, and the planet. Like I probably will do a whole video on why now is the time. In fact, I'm going to make a note. I will do a video on why now is the time, but now is the time. And so just get started and start small. I guess I can add a fourth mistake is to think that you have to do it all at once. You don't have to do it all at once. Again, it's a journey. So the mistake is in not starting now and in saying I'm going to do it at some point in the future. Start today. Take a small action. It's scary and stretchy, but it's so worth it. It's intimidating to think about making these commitments to say, like, I'm going to show up and I'm going to commit to showing up in this way. But as soon as you do it, the feeling of like alignment, and it feels so good to put that, to put your flag on that mountaintop and say, this is what I stand for. This is what my business stands for. And then living into that, it is such a fulfilling and uplifting feeling. And start today, because the world needs your impact. The world needs your change. There are so many people out there who are going to benefit as soon as you start taking action. And you will never regret starting. So start today. As I said, the fourth one, trying to do it all at once, or thinking that you have to do it all at once, or thinking that it, like letting yourself get overwhelmed by all that there is to do. There's a lot to do, but it really is just like anything else. Take it one step at a time, one piece at a time. So that leads me into my upcoming masterclass. It's a few weeks out. You can register at mavenimpactconsulting.com/masterclass. The link will be right here in the comments. So check it out, register for that. We're going to deep dive into all of this, and I'm going to give you tools and resources for actually how to get started. So get started now. Don't get overwhelmed. That masterclass is going to walk you through what you can do to get started and how you can break it down into a way that is not completely overwhelming, hopefully. And if you want to learn any more about any of this, if you want to have a deeper conversation, if you want to talk about what it might look like in your business, if maybe you've tried to take some of these steps and it has become very overwhelming, or you've made some of these mistakes, comment below or shoot me a DM. I would love to continue the conversation with you. And as always, I'm so grateful that you're here, and let's go change the world together. All right, have a great day.